Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, I would love to nerd out again with you today, but I don't think we're going to have time. There are a lot of things that I'd like to touch on today, a lot of notes we have to rip through that have not been talked about quite yet. Some pretty big news, some not so big news, some drama, some, the heck did my wife call it again? Juicy man drama. And then if there's time to kill, rather than jumping into the nerdy nerd stuff, we'll take some calls because we got quite a few of those. So that's the plan. Tiredness just really hit me all of a sudden, so I apologize if I'm kind of lagging here. Just out of nowhere, it's like, okay, bedtime. First of all, I just very briefly want to touch on this Falcons quarterback situation. I want to spend a ton of time on it because it has nothing really to do with the Packers. But, you know, when they drafted Michael Penix, they said that they were kind of in awe of the Green Bay Packers model, and they were dedicated to it, and they were going to make sure, you know, if they even said if he needed to sit for 4 or 5 years, they'd be willing to do it. And little more than halfway through the season, their season's basically dead. They're not going to win a frickin' Super Bowl this year. Kirk Cousins is the guy. They've already paid him a massive amount of money. He's not playing well. So what? Let him finish the season. Nope. They're going to throw Penix into this mess. What a terrible situation to throw the guy into. Maybe he's going to be great. He's actually the highest graded rookie quarterback right now, but he threw like 6 passes. I hope he's great. I hope all that's, I mean, I guess I don't hope he's great. I don't want him to be really good, but you know, for his sake, I hope he doesn't super suck. But man, I don't understand it, man. I don't get it. I understand a lot of guys, they're not being allowed the leash necessary to do something like that. And so you don't have a choice. If you're in like a win now situation, because that's what the people above you are saying, we need to win now, then you do win now stuff to save your job. But when you've already got the authority and the sign off on letting the guy sit, let the guy sit. You got permission, so do it. What is the biggest benefit you're going to get from that? I mean, maybe they have seen Penix in practice and he's elite. And they're like, this guy's ready. Let's put him out there and maybe we'll go on a run. Fine. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But just stupid, man. So what? Well, Cousins isn't playing well. So what? Well, we got to do something. No, you don't. You don't have to do something. You can just continue to play with the team that you have, and you either make the playoffs or miss the playoffs on the merits of the team that you have. And if you miss the playoffs, then you ride into the sunset doing whatever it is you have to do with the continued plan of having another quarterback ready to go. If that's Cousins, then it's Cousins. If Cousins retires or something because it was such a disaster or whatever, or you want to find another old guy to come in and do it, try to find your own Sam Darnold maybe, then do that. But the point is, Penix does not step foot on a football field until he is that dude. How freaking hard is that? I don't know, man. But moving into things that are a little bit more relevant, I've been talking about all the injuries and all this terrible stuff for the Detroit Lions. Well, it turns out David Montgomery, they decided, never mind. Okay, false alarm. He's going to be okay. Freaking figure it out before you set off the alarm bells. He's done for the year. And even now, they have no idea what's actually going to happen. They're optimistic. Apparently, they decided to go the rehab route as opposed to season-ending surgery. So they're going to see. They're going to see how that goes. Sounds like they went out and got a bunch of second, third, fourth opinions until they found the one that they liked. And the way Ian Rappaport put it, it has taken several days and several experts, but Lions running back David Montgomery now has a path forward, and it's one that, if all goes well, could put him on the field for the playoffs. So, again, they went and tried to find anybody that would give any kind of recommendation for how they could possibly get him back. And, you know, obviously it's all speculation. I don't really know, but you look at the reputation of the team, and I just wonder if they aren't... I understand that this is probably going to be their best chance of winning a Super Bowl and all, but I I don't know. You hope that they're not making the wrong decision just because there's a small chance that he can be well enough to tough it out and possibly do some more damage, some more serious damage to that knee that really needs to be surgically repaired, and just not doing it and then putting him on a football field. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then I can't not weigh in on this. This is one of those things I probably should just leave alone. You know, but I'm not going to. Emmanuel Acho gave me license to talk about this. So Caleb Williams, you probably saw in the game, he's flailing around. It looks like he can't catch his breath. He's just flopping around on the thing or whatever. And I guess I didn't think too much of it at the time, other than it was odd. You know, like what are you doing? I don't understand. And Bears fans are going, well, he's hurt. So hey, first of all, stop acting like you've ever seen this before, because you have never, ever, ever seen that before. And that in and of itself should mean something. We've seen people that are injured that are being tended to. We've seen people that are injured being taken back under the blue tent. We've seen them being carted back into the locker room. We've never seen them on a long bench by themselves, just hunched over like they're taking a nap and then getting up and then throwing their head back. And not like grimacing in pain so much as just like, out of breath. Like, just weird. Like, what are you doing, bro? Anyways, here is a very unpopular opinion. A lot of very sensitive people don't like this kind of commentary. How dare you? That's not nice. I don't care. I think it's funny. Here's Emmanuel Acho talking about Caleb Williams.
Caleb, you not a damsel. You not in distress. We do not feel sorry for you. It is the National Football League. Caleb Williams' body language is starting to become not just concerning, but irritating. Yeah. The game of football, particularly when you're a rookie, you go from being a king in college to being a peasant. And I believe somebody needs to inform Caleb Williams that you are now the peasant of the National Football League. But it's as if Caleb Williams expects us to feel sorry for him. Right. Last night, during the game, yes, he took a hard hit. We've all taken hard hits before. Why are you sitting there laying on the bench like somebody gonna come pick you up? Nobody's coming to rescue you, Caleb Williams. Nobody is coming to rescue you. You are not a damsel and you are not in distress. You an NFL quarterback. If that would have been the isolated incident, Chase, I would not have been as perturbed. But y'all remember week 12 versus the Minnesota Vikings, game on the line in overtime? Caleb gets sacked, and because he tarried too long getting off the ground, delay of game. With the game on the line, y'all see the score 27-27. Okay, maybe he would have matured the next week. That's Thanksgiving. Because it took him too long to get off the ground, Eberflus has to burn a timeout. Then Eberflus ends up getting fired because he didn't use his last timeout. Then yesterday, Caleb, you not a damsel. You not in distress. We do not feel sorry for you. It is the National Football League. You're going to get hit hard. You have to get up. You got to play the next play. I, more than anything, feel like control what you can control. Do not let anything without a heartbeat beat you. And far too often, we see with this #1 overall pick, what I still believe is a generational talent, we are seeing things without a heartbeat, like attitude, like toughness, like effort, like emotional maturation in the midst of war. Yeah. The football game beat him.
And again, all the very emotional, sensitive people out there, oh, how dare you? How dare you? The people that grew up with helicopter parents and frickin' this weak nonsense chiming in. These are football players. So I understand that outside of football, especially in the sports media realm, I'm not talking specifically about these guys because these are players, which players are pretty much taking over the sports media realm, which probably a good thing. But places where you don't actually have to be a grown man to do your job, you know, soft and cushy. You live by the rules of HR, you know, be kind, be sensitive, be nice. Don't say mean words, kindergarten crap. Yeah, you shouldn't say these things. It's not very nice. However, those people and those attitudes would not survive in the NFL. The NFL would be a garbage product if that's the way that the NFL was run, but it's not. And the fact of the matter is, you can be as offended and upset and sad and all those feelings that you have that you want about what Emmanuel Acho said, But it doesn't change the fact. Did you notice how everybody on that panel agreed with him? All former football players? How many football players next to him do you think agree with him? How many football players are walking on the sideline, seeing their quarterback act like a frickin' wimp, whining and flailing? Why are you flailing? What is wrong? What do you need? Do you need a trainer? Then sit up. What are you doing? Like, what? Again, it doesn't matter how the sensitive brigade feels about it. What matters is Emmanuel Acho is communicating how grown men feel, how football players feel and act. These are guys that these are guys that play with broken bones and shattered spleens. These are guys with broken bodies that jump into ice. Did you watch that quarterbacks thing and see what Kirk Cousins goes through? What he has to do just to stop the pain? These guys are living on pills and injections. This is a guy who's taking sacks and he just lays on the field and we're burning timeouts because you don't want to get up. And then you go to the sideline and you're throwing your head back and you're sad and you're just flailing around and you have to lay down. Do you know how many injured people are out there trying to protect him, trying to play for that guy? And anytime he gets touched, guys that get hit on every single play, this guy gets touched once and it's, oh, come help me, pick me up. I don't know if I can do it. How much longer do you think these guys are going to put up with that before somebody's going to say something? Again, I don't care what people on Twitter or Facebook or what you think for that matter. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because your feelings on the matter have nothing to do with what those grown men in the locker room are thinking. This is the same opinion I had when everybody was offended about the comments about Caleb with his painted fingernails. Oh, this is 2024. People are different now. The world has changed. Yeah, but guess what? The locker room didn't. You're telling me in that locker room that there are, I'm not saying everybody, you're saying that there's a bunch of people in that locker room who aren't going to have a problem with that? Even though we've already got comments from Bears players saying, don't bring that Hollywood crap here. And of course, he had to apologize. Never mind. I didn't mean that because they told me I had to say that. It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what Twitter thinks. It doesn't matter what Reddit thinks or Instagram thinks. These are freaking modern day warriors. They're not going to put up with this. They're not going to respect him. They're not going to want to play for him. You imagine being Keenan Allen, having played with Phillip Rivers? Do you know how much Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen probably went through? Do you know how much he's watched Phillip Rivers get battered and bruised? You watch the toughness of a guy like that, the resilience and how much they fought through, how much they battled through, and then you come to Chicago with this young kid, this young Cali kid who's got this attitude, and he's just freaking soft. Look around the league at all the quarterbacks taking hits, and what are they doing? They're marching up and down the sideline talking to their guys. You got guys like Jordan Love that are out there playing with a limp. You got Pat Mahomes out there playing with a limp. I know there's a controversy about that as well, but this guy takes a sack and just lays on the ground to the point where you got to burn a timeout because he just needs to lay there and contemplate his life. He needs to lay there and show everybody how just this poor man is beaten. I mean, that's got to be what he's thinking in his head. Everyone's going to watch and see this broken man. Oh, what a warrior. Just taking these beatings, and he still gets up. He gets up again. It's like freaking Rocky here, man. No, dude, no. That's not what we're thinking. Get up immediately. Get up. Falling to a knee all dramatically. Every time he gets sacked, he falls to a knee. Oh, I just can't. You got a cardio problem, bro? Get on a treadmill. Why can't you breathe? You got asthma? Get this man an inhaler. What are you dropping to a knee for? Why are you flailing on the bench like you can't breathe? And by the way, any jagoff who wants to come back, well, let me see you. It's not about me, stupid. He's a football player. That's the point. Be like if an NFL player kept dropping passes and it's like, well, how many could you catch? It doesn't matter how many I could catch. I'm not an NFL wide receiver. I'm not in question here. I'm not trying to be a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers making millions of dollars. So your question has no bearing on anything that is in any way relevant. I hate that so much. Well, how much pain could you take? How much do you think I could take in a boxing ring? 0. I could take 0 in a boxing ring. It doesn't change the fact that if you've got a heavyweight boxing title fight and a guy gets in and somebody throws a punch at him and he's just flinching and then he just runs away and says, I can't do that, this scares me, that's problematic. And the appropriate response is not, well, what, you think you could do it? No, I don't. What does that have to do with anything, stupid? God, the fact that people think that that's a brilliant retort. Remember that next time when you go to get surgery and they remove the wrong appendages and you get all huffy about it and try to sue the doctor. I can't wait for the retort to be, well, could you do it? Do you think you could do it? Could you do it better? Yeah, well, that's kind of not the point. Jag off. So anyways, I find this hilarious. Bears fans have been reduced to the same thing that they've been reduced to for several years, just doing everything in their power to defend Caleb. They're just charging into every corner of the internet where they can find anyone speaking poorly about Caleb and just attacking them viciously with just vitriol and anger, because it's all they got left. And so you got Acho coming out and attacking the man's character while the Bears fans are defending on all fronts as it is. Now you got to defend him on a new front, his character and his toughness, which of course was come into question to begin with the painted nails and whatnot, which I suppose you should expect when you paint your nails, which is somewhat effeminate. I don't know if you knew that. Guess we're going to pretend that we didn't know that and that it's freaking normal for a grown man and a football player to have pink nail polish. I guess we'll just say that that's normal. That's fine. And you know what else is fine? Everybody that wants to ignore exactly what I'm saying, just like they ignored everything I said about Justin Fields. The fact of the matter is this dude is not playing well, and as much as there's an opportunity for him to continue to grow in his skills, there's also things working against him. First of all, having an entire season go like this, it's going to hurt you mentally. That's like the biggest thing that everybody's afraid of, is that you're going to be kind of ruined, taking all the sacks and kind of all the negative press and all that kind of goes down. But then there's also the fact of a reputation and the fact of what happens in a locker room when you have guys kind of turning on you and they're not really supporting you and you become kind of isolated in your own thing. And that just continues to spiral. And then you get kind of a situation like you got in Philly where the wide receivers start publicly or privately acting out against the quarterback and they're not super big fans of him. I mean, DJ Moore never really liked him. I know that for a fact. I mean, we knew that back when he said he didn't want to trade Justin Fields. He said that he looked at all the quarterbacks and none of them are as good as Fields. And that includes Caleb. So he didn't want him in there. And he's had a terrible attitude all year. And that's only gotten worse because he's pissed because he had a really good situation with Justin Fields. He had the best year of his entire career last year, believe it or not, as far as his PFF grade and everything. And now he's having his worst year ever with Caleb. The guy just can't get him the football. He just pretty basic stuff. The guy's open. You just can't get it to him. So, yeah, there's only so much a new head coach can do, by the way, but I'm seeing an absolute dumpster fire, and I'm enjoying it. And so, yes, I will find any negative comments that I can find, and I will absolutely attach myself to it. I will sign on the dotted line. Anyways, with that, why don't we go ahead and take a break? We have got, I think that's it on non-Packer stuff. We got Packers and Saints news to talk about. There is actually a lot more Bears stuff, but we'll save that, and we're not going to do a laughing at the Bears thing. So we'll take a break, and we'll be right back. There is one extra non-Packers or Saints bit of news I figured I'd bring up. Apparently, the Dolphins may potentially release Calais Campbell if they're eliminated from the playoffs to let him sign with a contender per, who the heck is this? Barry Jackson, 35-year-old Miami Herald veteran who covers South Florida's major sports teams. All right, so there you go. So he's saying they may release Calais Campbell. So obviously, we're talking about the potential for a guy like that signing with a playoff team, which the Packers are included in. And so obviously the question arises, would the Packers pull the trigger on this? I think most people, the answer would be no. Generally, we see guys like this go to other places and everybody gets upset. I don't know that the answer would be no. And obviously the Packers can't just decide this. I mean, it's got to be a bit of a competition and whatnot, and he's probably going to want to go to the team that he thinks is most likely to win. So he may go to the Chiefs, or he may go to the Lions, desperately in need of defensive line help and all that. But I don't know that the Packers wouldn't, to be completely honest. I mean, at 38 years old, he's still playing at a fairly high level. He has an 83 PFF grade, 87 run defense grade, which is pretty massive. His tackling grade sucks. Pass rush is just a 67, but it's still above 10%. He has 32 pressures on 315 attempts, so we can call it exactly 10%. Sacks aren't super great, but still, I mean, at 38 years old, he's going to be a high rotation guy. So, that would be a negative for a place like Detroit anyways, who's going to want to put him out there a lot. Green Bay would say, look, we're going to put you out there in advantageous situations, run defense situations, et cetera. And I think what we've been talking about is not lost on the Green Bay Packers. I think Gutekunst, like Matt LaFleur and everybody else, probably recognize the potential that this team has right now. Gutekunst obviously wants to make sure that one of these years he gets that Super Bowl under his belt. He's done a lot of stuff, but everybody, all of his predecessors got that one Super Bowl, and I think, I don't know. I think it's possible. I do. I think there is a chance that the Green Bay Packers would be on the lookout for a guy like Calais Campbell. I'm not sure if the Matt LaFleur, Robert Saleh connection will help with Mike McDaniel over there. McDaniels, whatever his name is. Maybe put in a good word. Obviously, be beneficial to go to an NFC team anyways. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Just a thought. So as far as the Saints are concerned, we can roll this right into the transitioning into the Packers. We'll talk about the injury report. It's pretty bad for the Saints. So Derek Carr is officially out. He had gotten injured a few weeks ago, and there was questions about whether or not he'd be able to play against the Packers. It was announced that Spencer Rattler will officially be the quarterback for the Saints. Just so we're clear, he is a rookie quarterback and is the only rookie quarterback with a lower grade than Caleb Williams. So there's that. But obviously, that is a pretty big deal. Derek Carr actually playing at, Jesus, is this his best year ever? I'm going to look at his career. I'm kind of shocked at how high his grade is. He has an 85.6 grade. That is actually his best year. 85.3 was his next highest. That was in 2016. So he missed quite a bit of time. He played weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 9, 10, 11. And then 13 and 14. So he's played, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games so far. But, 86 overall, 87 passing grade. He has been actually quite phenomenal. Phenomenal. Spencer, on the other hand, let's take a closer look at him. So Jake Haener was another guy that was a possibility. But Spencer Rattler, it looks like he's played 4 games. I don't know exactly to what extent. It looks like maybe 2 half games or something. But 6, 7, 8, and then week 15 he played. He has a 57.5 completion percentage. His adjusted is up to 73.3, though. 706 yards, just 5.9 yards per attempt, so he's kind of a dink and dunker. He has 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's just 1 touchdown in 2 different games. The 2 interceptions came his first game against Tampa. He didn't throw another interception since. However, he has thrown 2 big-time throws. Those are presumably those 2 touchdowns because it was the same games, which is just 1.6% big-time throw rate. That's one of the lowest I've seen, so extreme dink and dunker. His turnover-worthy play rate is 4%. He had 2 in week 6, 3 in week 7, and then 1 in week 15. So of the 2 interceptions, there were actually 6 turnover-worthy plays. He has a 73.1 NFL passer rating. Look, anybody can show up and have a good day. It would be his first, although he has shown some growth. He had a 65 and then a 42 in his first 2 games. And then it was 67 in this last game. He had a 69. So he had his best game, pushing a 70. But still hasn't had quite a good game. And the biggest thing, like a lot of young guys, is pressure. So there's going to be a lot of dinking and dunking. but pressure is going to make all the difference. So he's been under pressure 35.7% of the time. That's quite high. And as you would probably expect, as I would expect, a lot of that has to do with him. Bears fans refuse to acknowledge that that's a thing. But the fact of the matter is, generally bad quarterbacks don't know how to handle pressure very well. They don't know exactly what to do. They're not very good at finding ways to mitigate that, as far as either getting rid of the ball out of bounds, getting rid of the ball to the check down or to the open man, how to navigate the pocket, how to break the pocket. All these things are learned qualities that guys like Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love and guys like that, they're very good at manipulating. Rodgers was a master at that, almost baiting guys into going in a certain direction, and then he would step up, and then he would step out, right? He would go back and then up and then out. He was so good at that. You can see Jordan kind of replicating that, but yeah, it's. I'm guessing that has a lot to do with it. But the most important thing, when he's not under pressure, 64% of the time, he has a 63% completion rate, 5.7 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 77.7 PFF grade, 77 passing grade. When under pressure, he's 14 of 32, which is 43.8%, 201 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, 30.5 PFF grade, 28.9 passing grade. Pressure, 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 pressure. This is a rookie 5th-round pick that is really raw. Anything that works is dink and dunk central, which I think the Packers are probably going to be more or less okay with that. I think they've managed those kinds of things quite well. And just get in this guy's face all day. Confuse the living crap out of him. Get in his face. Get him scared. Get him rattled. Be all right. Maybe the bigger news, not that this is necessarily a bigger impact, but kind of at least caught me by surprise. Alvin Kamara has been dealing with a groin injury. Apparently it's worsened to the point where he did not practice in the latest practice. Head coach Darren Rizzi actually said that he is now considered week to week and is unlikely to play in the upcoming game against the Green Bay Packers. As far as I can tell, he has not missed a single game this year, so Alvin Kamara has been contributing all year. He's got already 950 yards, so he's about to crack 1,000. 6 touchdowns, 1 fumble, 76.6 rushing grade, 4.2 yards per attempt, which feels low, but honestly, it's really not for him at all. His 4.4 is his career average. It's actually high since 2021, 3.74, 3.9, and this year 4.2. His impact on the ground is really, really dropped off, I guess, since 2020. He's still a good runner. He's still impact in the receiving game and all that for sure. So this is a big sigh of relief, I suppose, for the Packers. I'm surprised he's only 29 years old. I swear that guy's been around for 20 years. The funny thing is, what that means is that we're going to see more of their other running backs. Who are their other running backs? Well, Kendre Miller is a 3rd-round pick from last year. He seems to be the top option. He's played more snaps the last couple weeks 14 and 15. He's played 19 total snaps in those games. After that, it would appear the next man up is Jamal Williams, former 4th-round pick of the Green Bay Packers. And funny enough, they're actually in the same draft class, Kamara and Jamal. So they're both kind of elder statesmen pushing 30 years old here. So with that, it looks like Kendre Miller is probably going to be the heir apparent. So I'm guessing they're going to want to get him as many opportunities as possible. Because, you got a 29-year-old that's injured. You got a 29 going on 30-year-old Jamal Williams. They do have Jordan Mims, who they picked up in 2023, but he's an undrafted free agent. He's already going on 26. So, I think Kendre is the future for New Orleans. So we'll probably get a pretty healthy look at him with Jamal Williams spelling him, would be my guess. There's also 3 wide receivers on the injury report: Chris Olave, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, another former Packer, and Bub Means. Bub Means has been dealing with an ankle injury. He's missed multiple games, including Week 9. Did not participate in the latest practice, and so it's uncertain whether he's going to play. He was a DNP along with Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He took a pretty big hit in this past game, had a chest injury for that. He did return to the game, but I guess he's still working through that. Chris Olave was limited in practice. he's dealing with a head injury. I don't know if that means concussion or what that means exactly, if he's in the protocol or what, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one. As far as other guys that did not participate, the only one is Chase Young, which is obviously a big one, but apparently was due to an illness, so I would assume he'll be okay and will return. Catch a heck of a break if he didn't play for some reason. Otherwise, Juwan Johnson, limited. Kool-Aid McKinstry, full participant with a shoulder injury. So the big news, really, that I wanted to mention, aside from Derek Carr not playing, if you didn't know that, was that Alvin Kamara is going to be out in this game. As for the Packers injury report, kind of two bigger things to report. First of all, Jair was a full participant. Not even going to comment on that. That means nothing to me. Corey Ballantyne was limited. Javon Bullard did not participate. Luke Musgrave was limited. Quay Walker did not participate. Now, two bits of news. Number one, and I don't mean to be morbid or unkind here, but suffice it to say, I'm guessing that this bad news probably will make some of you a little bit happy. Quay Walker was seen in a boot, and Matt LaFleur apparently has given him the week-to-week designation, saying he's more week-to-week than day-to-day. So he will not be playing in this game. He may not be playing for some time. We'll see. Again, there's a lot of theories out there, speculation that maybe the team is better when he's not on the field. Maybe that's just the fact that, you get Eric Wilson in there as the mic, and he plays as a really solid in that position, and it happens to be that way. I don't know. We'll see. We will see if they're better with him or without him, I suppose. But that does seem to be the situation. The other one is that Jordan Morgan is officially out for the season. They decided to just shut him down for the rest of the year. I don't know. I probably shouldn't. I had much more energy to do this before, and I don't have much fight left in me. I expelled it all on Caleb Williams. Look, there was a comment, and I'm sure this is not an uncommon comment. I'm sure a lot of people feel this way. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've seen it before somewhere. But it was something to the effect of, boy, so glad that we didn't waste, or that we wasted a pick on this bum as opposed to getting, Cooper DeJean or something. Leaving aside all of the, wow, what a spoiled brat douche you are, comments, boy, where to even begin? One of the things I contemplated doing today, we'll do it eventually, but today's probably not the day. I was just doing it for fun. I was just kind of perusing through. For those of you that are kind of interested in the draft or whatever, who maybe remember some of the guys, we all had kind of our favorite this, that, or that guy in the draft, kind of going through and just seeing how everybody's doing. One of the interesting things as you go through that is you see how many guys are really bad. And several of them are guys that many people thought the Packers should take. One of them, in fact, was, and just because they're bad so far doesn't mean they won't be good later. It's kind of an important point with Jordan Morgan as well, who's not even bad. It's just that he hasn't played. It's weird calling a guy a bust because he's hurt rather than because of his play in the field. Just stupid stuff. But Graham Barton, it was a whole thing like, man, why wouldn't you take Barton over Jordan Morgan? He's a better prospect. And, if you're going to take Jordan Morgan and just make him a guard anyways, it's stupid to not take Barton. He's such a better player that would have been a better guard or something to that effect. I don't know. It's just these are the conversations that were had. And, it's very convenient to just disregard all the other players that everybody wanted the Packers to take that are being bad and just look at the ones that actually did pan out and say, wow, are you stupid for not taking this one? First of all, we don't even know that Jordan Morgan's a bad pick. Second of all, why is it you have this feeling, this belief that if there's a good player, the Packers either get them or they're stupid? You're looking at a situation where in the first round, including all the way up to pick 1 right now, who looks like a piece of trash, 1 through 32 or 40 or 50, out of the top 50, you have maybe, 15 that are playing well? Of the guys that were kind of in the range expected to be picked, for the Packers, you might have one or two that are playing well, with all the rest being either not playing at all because they're just not on the field, injured, or just playing poorly. You know, the idea that the Packers should be the team to get that guy. So in other words, if there's 32 prospects and 32 teams, and any other team ends up with the good player, then our GM's an idiot. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. That's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is, you had the opportunity to take the best guy, and you took one of the other 31, and so you're an idiot. It doesn't matter to me that only one out of the entire group actually went on to have success and nobody else did. And so it's actually quite normal to not have it. It's almost an expected outcome to not have it. Instead of having that mentality, it's either you get the one guy that's performing well, and of course the attitude's always, well, everybody knew Cooper DeJean was going to be good. Everybody knew that. First of all, no, that's stupid. No, they didn't. That's just what people say when during the draft season, because there's 1,000 prospects that everybody knows is going to be good. And then if they end up not being good, we just don't talk about it anymore. And then if they end up being good, we talk about it like, everybody knew. Just like everybody knew Graham Barton was going to be a good player, even though he's one of the lowest graded guys right now. Just like everybody knew Jackson Powers Johnson was going to be good. Just like everybody knew Fashanu and J.C. Latham. These are first-round picks that are not playing particularly well. In fact, of the 25 rookie first-round picks, 3 of them are graded in the 70s. One of those is my guy, Zach Zinter, not Zinter, Frazier. I don't know what it was. I saw Frazier, and I'm like, that's my dude. I don't care. That's my dude. Boom. I nailed it. Get out of my face. The only other ones are Dominic Puny and Joe Alt. Not that there's anything necessarily wrong with having a 60 grade, but I'm not going to give them credit for having a 60 grade when I know that all the negative Packer fans would call them a bust for having that. So no, I'm going to apply your expectations on these rookies and say that out of 25, only 3 of them are good. And that includes a lot of first-round picks that everybody knew. Fuaga. Oh, that dude's elite. He's special. He's da-da-da-da-da-da. No, he's not. No, he's not. Not right now. In fact, he's given up the second most sacks of anybody, behind only Joe Alt. 5 sacks, 7 hits, 19 hurries. He's given up the third most pressures. Amarius Mims and Fuaga have given up 31 pressures. Latham, 37. DJ Glaze, 40. I got more for you, though. How about Byron Murphy? Remember that guy? Defensive tackle out of Texas. Just elite. Just elite Byron Murphy. No, he's not. No, he's not. 17 pressures and 1 sack on the season and a 58 PFF grade. He's a 16th overall pick. What a frickin' bust. Man, they should fire that GM. Seattle Seahawks GM. Fire him. What a piece of garbage. You remember when every Packer fan wanted them to get Jerzon Newton? Remember that? Jerzon Newton. I was in on that. Jerzon Newton. 48 PFF grade. Washington Commanders. Fire him. Just freaking fire him. What a piece of crap. How about Dallas Turner, pass rusher in Minnesota? He has 11 pressures and 2 sacks on 118, 120-ish attempts. 61 PFF grade, 56 pass rush grade. Are you freaking kidding me? Number 17 overall selection by the Minnesota Vikings. What a pile of dog crap. Thought he was going to be good, bro. What happened? Everybody knew. What about Terrion Arnold? Remember Terrion Arnold? How good that guy was going to be? He was a 24th overall selection. Remember that? Elite. No way he's even going to fall to us. He has a 49 grade for the Detroit Lions. 49. How about Nate Wiggins? It's not the worst over there in Baltimore. 63 grade, though. Kool-Aid, who we're going to see in New Orleans, he's in the 60s. But no, we got to talk about Cooper. That's the only one we can talk about because everybody knew. Cooper. By the way, Andrew Phillips is another guy I really liked. I liked all the Kentucky guys. I didn't understand why. Now I know why. Because they're freaking good. That's why. But yeah, Cooper DeJean, man. Stupid. By the way, he was picked in the second round, pick 40. So the idea that the Packers are stupid when 32 teams let him walk out the first round. And if you think, well, no, the earlier teams are the second round teams that let him fall to 40. And he's not even the top corner. Andrew Phillips is. He's the 3rd-round pick out of Kentucky. Oh, stupid. Everyone's stupid. Look how stupid everybody is. Stupid. Kalen Bullock, safety. Lowest graded safety right now with a 52.9 below Javon Bullard. Tyler Newbin, Cam Kinchins, all 50s and 60s. Evan Williams, 72, but we don't talk about that because our GM's an idiot and that's all we want to talk about. There's so many people that are just dying for any excuse to call Gutekunst an idiot. And it's like, it's the same thing I say to Bears fans. Like, just wait until the good thing happens to brag about it. Otherwise, you're going to look like an idiot. But they just can't wait. Oh, he's going to be the greatest. He's going to be the greatest in the world. Everyone knows he's the greatest. You're an idiot. You're a homer. You don't even know. And then he's a bust. And it's like, well, good. Now I'm glad you're suffering. It's like if you want everyone to... If you don't want everyone to know that you're just an absolute Gutekunst hater, you have to actually wait for a bad thing to happen and then criticize it. Calling a guy a bust when he hasn't even played, you're just laying your cards flat on the table. It's very obvious what you're doing. But yeah, this expectation among Packer fans that anybody that gets picked after the Packers that ends up being good, the Packers, you know how impossible that task is? First of all, the odds of making a pick that are going to be good is less than 50%. The odds that a pick within the next 10 to 15 picks is going to be good is got to be like 90%. So, I mean, it's a test that nobody's going to pass. But anyways, yeah. So Morgan's out and everyone's calling him a bust now because he's hurt. I don't freaking know, dude. I don't know what to do with you people. All right, why don't we take a break? I think everything else would be better served for tomorrow. There is the Ted Thompson thing. Yeah, whatever. We can talk about it tomorrow, I guess. We will take some calls on the other side of the break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan, Trevor, Virginia.
What's up?
Great victory Monday. Stopped the Seahawks. I work. All my team works in Seattle, so a lot of Seahawks fans at work. So great win for us. My boss is actually Jackson Smith and Jigba's neighbor. But anyway, I don't know. There has to be. I don't know. Maybe I give NFL teams too much credit, but there has to be a guy who his job is to radio down when it's time to challenge. Because, like, the head coach, like, you'll get the Jumbotron maybe, but, like, you have no idea whether or not to challenge it. Like, you're waiting for somebody to tell you. Like, you can't see the replays. You can't see anything. You don't know if it's time to challenge. But whoever the advisor is that radios down to LaFleur when to throw the challenge flag, they just need to be fired. Like, I'll be watching the replays, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's good call, right? You know, or whatever. Like, oh, it's too close, you know, it's not going to overturn that. And every time I think that, LaFleur challenges it. And he always loses.
Well, and that is a good point. I mean, I've been laying it mainly at the feet of Matt LaFleur, but you know, Matt LaFleur's only real reference points, as you pointed out, he's got two things. He's got the Jumbotron, which, I mean, I don't know how good of a view he has and how often they're actually showing it to him, especially at an away field, if they're even showing it to him at all. And then he's got a guy who presumably has access to footage that can view it and radio down to him and make a decision. I don't know. Yeah. If those are your only resources, I guess it's hard to. It would be hard to imagine that the only set of information he had is a guy radioing down saying, "Matt, don't do it," and he's like, "I'm doing it." That's a scenario that I don't think makes a massive amount of sense.
He never wins a challenge. And I don't know who is telling him to challenge these plays. I have no idea who it is. But, I mean, I could use a job. I mean, hey, you know, on the weekends, pay me. I will come. I will sit somewhere with a TV monitor, watching all the replays, and I'll radio down when it's time to challenge a play. Because I could see it on my couch that we shouldn't challenge that play last night. And it's just a problem. It's a problem. But anyway, not calling to be negative. That was a great game. Josh Jacobs is just phenomenal. I honestly don't know without that signing that this team goes this year. I mean, I know we have so many great wide receiver weapons, but the passing game is only working when the run game is working, it seems. And Aaron Jones just isn't that back. I would still love to have Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is still always one of my favorite Packers, but just different style of runner and just doesn't, I don't know. Josh Jacobs has just been fantastic. We finally saw the defense come on. What was it, 7 sacks? The one, I forget if it was Wyatt or Carl Brooks, but when they came screaming in and just like jumped in the air and completely swallowed Geno Smith, I about jumped through the ceiling. That was like, we haven't seen a game like that this year from the Packers defensively. And the turnovers and stuff too. It was a great game. You know, obviously Josh Jacobs had the one fumble. Hasn't been a problem for him or anything. You know, it happens from time to time. But great game, great win. Go Pack Go.
Yeah, stuff's coming together, man. Everything's kind of clicking. The defense it's winning in a different way. It's not so much the turnovers, although those still exist, obviously. But it's not turnover dependent. And I think that was sort of an underrated or undersold narrative. I talked about it on the podcast, but you know, the question of take away the turnovers and do you still have a good defense? And I think if we're being honest, the answer early on was probably no. They had a ton of turnovers, which made them look quite good. But I think if you take away all those turnovers, I think that defense gets the crap beat out of it. The defense today is not turnover dependent. Every defense benefits massively from turnovers, no matter what. But I don't think that they're turnover dependent anymore.
Ryan, Kyle from Madison, it is Victory Monday,
yes,
man, of which there have been 10 of those already this year, right?
Hey-o.
Oh, my word, we got 10 wins. I have not looked at much reaction from the game last night. I haven't listened to your podcast yet. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I've heard just a smattering of things. One of the things I heard, though, I thought was kind of stupid. I'm sorry if I'm insulting people that believe this also, but
it's fine.
I had a lot of people taking issue with the fourth down calls from the coach there, and I actually totally disagree. I thought this was, in many ways, the Miami game, except it was played against a better team, and it was played away from home. And I thought that in the past, LaFleur has, and actually he did it yesterday with the challenge flag. He does these like emo, challenge flag throws when he gets mad. Sometimes he just wants to yell at the ref. He gets a little emotional to fourth down too. Like if he doesn't get it on a third.
That's a great theory. It's not about a guy radioing down. He just gets pissy, screw you, throws the flag at him. Like, we checked that upstairs. It's, I don't care, you frickin' jag off. Here, do it again. Waste more time. Reconfirm it, all right?
Sometimes he gets a little bit too emotional and he'll go for it, instead of kicking when he should. The only thing annoying about decisions yesterday was just the let's try and get the offsides call, It just wasn't happening. But I actually thought that those were the right calls for this game. In particular, down short, I think they were third and goal, fourth and goal it became, and he took the points. And I get it's frustrating, but in this game, you've got to go up 3 scores. There's no discussion there, I think. You go up 17 points,
Right.
But I got the distinct feeling that this team could have scored 40-plus points. It just feels like, you ever watch The Last Starfighter, the movie from the 80s, where they recruit the kid who got the high score in a video game? It's kind of a classic. And they recruit him into space, and when he gets up there, the alien co-pilot shows him the Starfighter, and then there's this one big red button. He's like, what about that? And he says, don't touch that. That fires everything we have. And I feel like the Packers are a team that's just got so much firepower left. And someday, soon, they're going to need to break the glass and push the button and fire everything. But they are beating the hell out of people without even having to do that right now. And so, I don't know. I just didn't agree with that take. Even when he turned down the 40-something yard field goal later in the game, to me, that was the right call also. Because you punt it, goes in the end zone, it's only like an 18-yard flip. So, I don't know. I thought the play calls were good. Hold on, let me give you a call right back.
Yeah, and look, again, I understand that some people are probably being completely honest with themselves about stuff, and they genuinely, on fourth down with Josh Jacobs and the team that we have, They would rather pass on a 4th and short. I don't think most people actually honestly feel that way. I think they're just mad it didn't work. And no matter what Matt LaFleur does, if it doesn't work, they're going to get pissy about it. And in this case, the easiest out is the whole shotgun thing. It's a flat argument. It doesn't work. But people need something to attach to and get pissed off about, and so that's what they get pissed off about. The fact of the matter is, with the shotgun thing, the Packers do that most of the time. Nobody really realized it because it didn't become some kind of a big controversy until now, but I looked it up. And you know what? I actually spent money on it because it's annoying the crap out of me. And I'm annoyed now that I spent money on it, but I did what I did. 3rd and 4th down. We have 3rd and 4th and short. We've only run under center 7 times. Shotgun, 20 times. If we just look at rushing in general, 96 rushing attempts under center, 169 from shotgun. If running out of shotgun is stupid, why do we do it a lot? Well, it's different on short yardage. No, it's not. Why? Why is it different in short yardage? And again, it's not. It doesn't even matter. I could be making this up, that this doesn't even exist, that this whole thing that I'm saying, it's not true, it's all made up. The bottom line is you wouldn't know because you didn't look it up. And so essentially what you have is a theory, right? You have intuition. Your intuition says shotgun is harder to run out of than under center. And so you form a theory that it's harder and therefore you shouldn't do it. But obviously there's some pushback in the back of your mind because Matt LaFleur is an NFL quarterback or an NFL head coach, an offensive play caller. He designed this play specifically for this situation. He must have a reason for it. Not to say that it isn't a bad reason, but it's worth exploring. So I'm going to look into it and see if he is as stupid as it feels like he is, although he probably isn't because I don't think he's just like Madden, just randomly scrolling through picking plays. But we don't want to do that. That's too much work. It seems like a bad idea. Therefore, it's a bad idea. Therefore, Matt's an idiot and we should fire him.
I do think LaFleur is struggling to get all these mouths fed because there are a lot.
And I listen, I don't care. I don't think Matt LaFleur cares. I don't think that's an important thing. I just don't. The fans are going to piss and moan no matter what. Right? If we're not running, how could you not use Josh Jacobs? If we're running, why aren't you using Jordan? Where's Jaden Reed? Where's Christian Watson? What? People are going to piss and moan no matter what. I can't imagine Matt LaFleur gives a crap. What matters is winning the frickin' game.
A lot of people that really need to get the ball. It's just like they've been pretty efficient on offense, but almost too efficient. There's just not enough plays for everybody.
Who cares?
I thought
screw them.
It's interesting going into this. The national media would say, you know, Seattle's won 4 straight. They're really on a heater. This is going to be a tough game. After we beat the daylights out of Seattle, and this is even before Geno Smith goes down, right? And Geno stayed in the game. I don't even think there's a comeback. I think that's human nature. Their starting quarterback goes out. Packers let up a little bit. We, like I said, we play with our food. They come back a little bit. I didn't think it was a threat. But I just think it's interesting. Well, now Seattle's trash because we beat them. It's like, dude, you just told me. They won 4 straight. It's a good test. Then we beat them. Oh, they're nothing. Can we talk about Devontae Wyatt's freaking spin move?
That was nice. That
had me out of my chair screaming, man. That was such an excellent piece of individual skill. And if he can do that, dude, that was crazy. That was crazy. I thought that was really exceptional. That was a Watson catch, man. The tiptoe Watson catch on the sideline. A thing of beauty. There was an incredible amount of awesome plays here. I'm going to have to rewatch the game today because I just can't remember them all. But those are a couple of the standouts. But I feel like the only other thing that I've heard people complain about, or I think just taken the wrong way, is, the Packers have to start running the ball with Jacobs, only because they got to get Love going. They don't trust Love. Man, I don't think that's true at all. I think you start by running the ball like that for a couple of reasons. One, it takes your other team's fan base out of the game because it's demoralizing. Mm-hmm. It's borderline insulting to run it 9 times with Jacobs and once with Love on the first drive. That's all there was. There was no pass play. But when you do that to an opponent, it just affected everything in the game. Like we just said, hey, we're tougher than you. We're going to line up. We're going to run it every time. You're not going to stop it. The Seahawks did manage to stop it later in the game, but, I mean, you want to talk about going out there and just exerting your will on your opponent right away. Holy crap. So I don't see that as a negative with Love at all. I thought that was exactly what you wanted to do. That's what they should have done last week. I like that they got the ball first. And they went and scored. They scored on the first, 4 straight? So, man, this is pretty fun. Now we got to root for the Bears tonight. Less fun, and I doubt they win. So that won't be great. It is a pity we couldn't beat Detroit. This would be a really interesting end to the season for this division if we could have done that. But I'd really look into it.
Stymied again by the 3-minute monster. Kyle, what else you got? We got a lot of Kyle coming up.
Yep, sorry, 3 minutes got me. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more the Rams maybe are the team out of the West you don't want. But I don't really know that there needs to be any bedwetting on our seeding. Hell, I mean, you'd like to avoid Philly and Detroit and Minnesota in round 1. Beyond that, you got to play tough teams you want to win. So I don't think the bedwetting over seeding is really that important. But certainly, I don't know. Everybody's going to write off Seattle, and I guess a lot of that will have to do with how long Geno Smith's out. But the Packers beat the hell out of that team in their house, and there must have been half the freaking stadium was Packer fans. So if you're not happy today, not you, but just people in general, if you're not happy with the Packers today, I don't know what to tell you, because that was freaking great. That was fun.
Well, and it is funny, and it just shows the absurdity of people, because you take the exact same Seattle Seahawks team. I'm not talking about the quality of them changes whatsoever. You change the quality of the Packers. If the Packers lose that game, you're talking about, number one, the Packers can't beat playoff opponents. That's the narrative, because Seattle would be a playoff team now. And number two would be, Seattle is for real. Seattle is on the march. Look what Seattle's doing. They took down all these opponents, then they took down the Packers. This is the team to really keep an eye on. If the Packers just lose, if they play bad and lose, that's what we'd be saying about Seattle. Exact same team. But that exact same team the Packers beat, and suddenly, because they lost, it somehow negatively reflects on Seattle, which then negatively reflects on the Packers. Do you understand how stupid that is? Like, that, the reason they're viewed negatively is because of how badly the Packers beat them. That's the whole freaking point.
It was nearly perfect. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting closer. So, and these LaFleur teams are undeniable in the way that they're maddening as a fan because of the improvement. If you take away like the outliers, right? Like they'll have like an outlier crazy positive improvement one game, and then they might have a really outlier bad game. But if you just look at LaFleur's through line of like improvement throughout the year, he is really good at coaching these guys up. They tend to have like a 6 to 10% like improvement rate every week, and it makes you crazy as a fan. But then cumulatively, it's just the whole team starts heading upwards towards the end of the year as this kind of football curriculum, I think, gets rolled out, and you start seeing the fruits now in December and hopefully January, where I think LaFleur's got these guys playing really well. And if some of these rookies and second and third year players can really start playing to their potential, man, the Packers are a top 3 team. They really are. So what a fun day. What a great week. Let's hope the Vikings lose tonight and enjoy the hell out of this. All righty. Go Pack, go.
Oh boy. I'm glad I paid for this now. Man, tomorrow is going to be a fun day. If you liked that whole DVOA thing, forget about how nerdy it was, whether you appreciate that or not. The positivity of it all and just kind of the revelation of how good things are. I've already got a bunch lined up. It's just every single, it feels fake, but every single data point is pointing in one direction. All the advanced metric people are out there and they're like, oh yeah, Packers are pretty amazing at everything. Really? Yeah. Oh yeah, Jordan too. What? Yeah. Like the last 4 games? Like, no, for the season. Yeah, top 3. No big deal. You're right, Kyle. It's a good time. Speaking of Kyle, what else you got, man?
Hey, it's Kyle from Madison again.
Yes, it is.
I was just continuing to marinate on the glorious game last night, and I was thinking about how LaFleur reacted to Seattle clogging up the running lanes in the middle, which, to be fair, the scouting reports I read on them coming into this game were that in the last 2 months, they've kind of solidified their defense. So when they did finally take away the running lanes in the interior, and I think Collinsworth even, maybe I'm misremembering, but I think Collinsworth even made a note of this in the broadcast, but that was when LaFleur started spamming that outside reverse to Reed that the much chagrin. Now, for the record, I just don't want him to run it inside the 20, man. I don't care how much they run it in, between the 20. He's got 60 yards to work with out there for the Reed reverse. I'm okay with. It's just don't do it in the red zone. And then it'll work. So what do I know? But it was certainly working against what Seattle was doing. And I thought that was really a genius way to expose them. And that's one of the things I like about LaFleur the most is just, I do feel he's not perfect. None of these coaches are perfect. But typically, if the Packers lose, and if it's not one of those just complete laying an egg games that we've had from time to time in years past, I guess, they're usually in it, and usually it's a matter of time. Like, if you give LaFleur and the Packers enough time, they will figure it out. He figured it out quickly yesterday. Get Reed on the perimeter, start punishing those linebackers for all sucking inside. And then can I just say, as much as I love Jacobs in the running game, I might like him more in the passing game, to be honest. They didn't do it as much yesterday because they had Reed available and that outside reverse was working. But I love when Love hits Jacobs on a check down because usually he's only got one linebacker to beat. See that footage from the Dolphins game, right, where he puts that foot in the ground and Matrix is outside, and then from then on, it's usually just guys half his size out there. So I think part of the reason he's been blowing so many tackles in a good way is because he's been in good situations for that. He's been manned up with cornerbacks and things once he gets in the deep secondary. So I would love to see more like even planned passing downs for Jacobs, especially when that run game does get clogged up, as is the case. I mean, if a team really commits to stopping it, they're going to stop it. And I just would love to see him out in the flat, maybe even a little circle route or something, just to get him out in space and make those cornerbacks defend Jacobs. Because, man, that guy in open space has got to be just absolutely terrifying for the other team.
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge. I was just looking as you were talking. Got the ability to filter some stuff here, and one of them is running into a stacked box. And not surprisingly, Josh Jacobs is extremely high. And I think a lot of fans would look at that and go, yeah, that's because Matt LaFleur is an idiot, and he keeps running when there's a stacked box. But one of the things you'll notice is that all the top backs are at the top of this list. Why? Well, number one, they run a lot. The team runs a lot. And number two, they load the box a lot. Saquon Barkley's number one ahead of Josh Jacobs. It's not because the Eagles are stupid. It's just that that's what happens. And so you just got to be able to navigate that. Number one is impose your will. Even if they load the box, you got to be able to get some yards. But obviously, the other thing is you got to be able to pass and do all that kind of stuff. Find ways to either get Jacobs in space or just throw the freaking ball. But that's the challenge that you're having, and it's honestly a good problem to have. And one of the issues, and we've had this in the past before, where we get upset with Matt LaFleur because he gets away from the run, and it's like, why did you get away from it? And it's like, well, because it wasn't working. It's like, well, you can't just abandon the run, right? That we've had those conversations in the past. So if you don't abandon the run when they load the box, what does that look like? It looks like running into a stacked box. So sometimes, you gotta figure that out. You gotta make that work. And you see them trying to do different stuff with the misdirection, with the fake handoff to the guy coming across the field and then hand it off to Jacobs. He's trying to do different stuff to make it work despite the box. And so far, they haven't figured that out. And maybe the answer is just pass. But that's going to cause problems. And that the response is going to be, why did you abandon the run? And Matt LaFleur is going to go up and he's going to say, you're right, I shouldn't have done that. That's on me. And I'm going to be defending him. And they're going to see, he said he was wrong. It's like, I understand that he said he was wrong. But, I think first of all, we got to acknowledge that there's a reason for the problems. There's problems and then there's reasons for problems. And the reason is not because these coaches are just idiots and they don't know what they're doing. Like, dude should be wearing a helmet around the facility. You know what I mean? That's not why. The defensive coordinators do a very good job of putting you in a situation where your options suck, and you just got to fight your way out of that. And as a reminder, the Packers fought their way out of that against Seattle with a resounding beating, which they've done to, 3 of their last 4 opponents? So I don't want to act as though like there was no answer. There was absolutely an answer. But yeah, you got to figure that out. They're going to load up the box a ton against Josh Jacobs. Looks like, doing a little quick math here, 26.4% of his snaps are into a loaded box. And shocker, when I look at the second half, that 26% jumps up to 45%. So what seems like is happening is what I think everybody kind of assumed was happening, and that is Matt LaFleur comes out, starts punching you in the freaking mouth. And keep in mind, it was 26% over 4 quarters. So if it's 45% in the first half, it's probably 15%, or in the second half, it's probably like 15% or something in the first half. So there isn't a stacked box. We run down their throat. They load the box. The run doesn't work as well anymore. And then, Matt LaFleur goes to the podium and says, "It's on me. I got to do a better job." It's like, yeah, you're stupid. Okay, well, we got to understand the situation. But anyways, I'm tired. You guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Have a good one. Bye-bye.